Hello again, listeners, and welcome back to the Kotu Classic FPL podcast. This is the Manager Chat series. I am Solomon, your co-host, and my other co-host, Chama. Chama, how's it going?
Cool man. Nak.
Man, cool, man.
Hmm.
Everything nice?
Yeah man, mangi ba.
All right. Today we have our third guest for this series. It is Sonny, one of the managers on the Kotu Classic mini league. So, Sonny, how's it going? Where Nakam?
Mine, Eric. How's it going?
It's going okay. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Suma waji mingi
Thank
double
you, thank you.
mingi double up di fum ne Germany. Fum nek ni man xamé ko.
Where are you doing?
Luma toogela, budega.
Nice, man. So yeah, Sonny, it's good to have you on the pod. So just give us a brief introduction of yourself. Like let's say where you right now, your current location, and your background,
Yeah,
etc. Yeah.
yeah. First of all, thanks for having me in the show. Like, it's a pleasure and at the same time an honor to be part of it. And yeah, currently I'm staying in Germany, in Munich to be specific. And yeah, everyone knows me from Kotu, like most of our group members. I'm originally from Kotu, and yeah, I'm now like 7 years in Germany.
Wow.
Was staying partly in Hamburg, but now I'm like almost 3 years in Munich, and yeah, been working just up and down.
That's nice.
So you should be supporting Bayern then, not Chelsea, huh?
Well, somehow I do support Bayern, but the other Bayern, because there's another Bayern here, like
Oh
1860,
really?
1860
Oh,
Munich. They're
okay,
playing in the
okay,
third division, and
okay.
they're actually the oldest Munich team, and
oh,
they are my team actually.
really? That's new information for me. But you used to support Bayern too, right? Yeah, when you were younger, you used to support Bayern, kind of. You,
Yeah, because obviously before Bayern was obviously like one of my top teams, but I don't know. I just felt like maybe there was not too much competition in Germany here, and they were always dominating. Like,
Yeah, it's annoying to
yeah,
be
it's
honest.
somehow also
Yeah.
I don't have no you don't have no try from it. It ends up getting boring. So
absolutely.
I wanted to try something else, and yeah. But Chelsea has always been my team, so
So how
Ah,
so
okay. So
how
that's
how has your playing career gone since you moved to Germany? Because when you were in Gambia, you used to play quite a lot. You are
yeah.
very active. How about in Germany? Do you play quite often now?
In Germany also, when I first came in Hamburg, I was actually very active.
Hmm.
I was playing. It's called like Bezirksliga. It's like two leagues below regional liga, and the
Okay.
competition was also very good.
Okay.
I played 2 seasons at a team. It's called Ep3 in Hamburg, and they were actually a very good team because we went until the quarterfinals. Is like a trophy. If you win it, you end up playing in this DFB Pokal, where teams
Oh,
like
really?
Bayern.
oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
Heard
we
about
ended
that
up
club.
going until the quarterfinals, but we lost to the team, and that team eventually won the trophy and ended up playing against Freiburg, but they also then lost at like 7-0 or so, because
Oh,
the difference is also big.
It's huge. Yeah,
And the
that's right.
funny thing is, we had our neighbors who also were playing. They're like two leagues above us. They once won the trophy, and they played against Hoffenheim. And back then, Firmino was playing at Hoffenheim,
Oh, really?
and
oh.
they came until the stadium. Then I was even watching the game, but they ended up losing 9-0.
Wow,
Man, so you can tell the difference.
that's
Yeah,
big
like
difference. Yeah,
the level is
Wow.
crazy, but it's not bad. Like, I was still active, but then I started like my hotel management, because I had to do something also in between, like,
yeah, it's difficult.
and it's difficult, and like especially with hotel management. When I started, it's like a 3-year thing, and it's like, for the time, I always have different shifts, and I ended up training, but I couldn't play games because I would also work weekends. Like, you don't have a fixed schedule. You can work weekends, you can have off in between, in midweeks, like. So it ended up taking its toll, and I couldn't continue playing.
Continue.
But I kept on playing part time, but yeah, since then I haven't been that active. Especially here in Munich, it's been even worse. But I've been trying to start again, because now at least I've been having a fixed
Schedule.
schedule,
Oh,
like working schedule now, mostly no all in night shifts. So during the day I could play more than now.
okay, that's nice.
Okay.
So did
So what
you
what
maintain?
position did you play?
Mm.
Hmm?
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Position
question.
I play center back or sometimes as a midfield six even.
Oh,
Before in
really?
Hamburg when I played there, yeah, because I guess Chama
Yeah, that would be
Chama will be
surprise.
surprised about that.
Yeah.
But in Hamburg, I did play a center back and midfield six at times.
Wow,
Yeah, that's good.
that's nice.
So your history with football, actually, you mentioned Chelsea. So how did you come about supporting Chelsea? Since you supported Bayern in the beginning, which one came first?
It's hard to say, but I think it's still Chelsea. Bayern is because I was born here actually in Bayern, so it's something of a tradition lately because my mom also was a Bayern fan, so
Mm.
it's I think it runs in the family. But Chelsea, I supported them. The funny thing is, I can still remember who actually made me support Chelsea. It was back
SEN.
in, not as Asian, like it's a friend, not Asian,
Who's
like
that?
a friend of mine. I think Chama knows him, Ismail Asise.
Oh,
Like it
East.
was a funny, it was a funny coincidence. I think we just met up once in Kotu, and he was also not that long there, I think, and then we just got to know each other, and he started talking about Chelsea. And we just ended up watching almost every game at his place,
Yeah,
and then I don't know, and especially also Michael Ballack.
yeah,
He was my favorite player,
Oh yeah, okay, yeah,
and
that
also
makes
when he
sense.
when he moved to Chelsea, it even made it much better for me, like to support Chelsea
Chelsea.
because he was my favorite player.
That's right. By the
And
way,
yeah, since
how is East doing? How is Ismaila doing?
he's he's
He's
he's
still in.
fine. I think he's currently in Gambia. I talk to him once in a while on Instagram, but I will try and get him to join the group. But I'm not sure if he's that active, but
Does he
I'll
still?
try and get him.
Is he still following football like he used to? He was a very passionate football fan, if I can remember. Yeah, he one of the yeah because yeah, he's fun to have around because he's huge another Chelsea fan. It would be too much to have Sonny and Ismaila in the same group, I think.
Yeah, Chama, you can give us a brief history of who is, and so that we can understand.
Oh yeah, it's
So
we all grew up in Kotu, so small guys Mondo and come nyom is nyom Sonny we play together. We played against each other because we had a couple of teams like in the same neighborhood, I would say. So comme koto yi ak ndoy rek so xam nga ko ndoy léegi-léegi suñu definee ren de bëgg a am seen
all
team booba
hands.
suñu ne ba guys waaw ba guys trop but yeah we were not actually old hands. I didn't feel I was old hands. Maybe
You were
got
all hands,
I got
man. It's
I got
okay.
I got shot early because of maybe like Sonny say I have a lot of injuries. So if I have injuries,
Okay.
yeah, I become fed up and something like that. But we play together, and then at some point I coach them to East and Sonny when we go to qualify rounds, things like that. Yeah, we have a lot of history together. We played together. We traveled around Gambia playing football almost everywhere,
Wow.
and it was fun. Yeah, it was a very healthy relationship with them.
Competition. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was it was definitely nice. Like I can remember back then, I would always call him Roy Hudson, but he was definitely a good coach for us, and yeah, it was great back then also.
Okay. I was thinking you started supporting Chelsea because of SEN, because there was a point when Chelsea signed SEN, and all of a sudden, all Africans, especially Ghanaians, whatever, were supporting Chelsea from different clubs. All of them just started supporting Chelsea from nowhere. So I was like, okay, maybe you're part of that wave that came in and started supporting Chelsea because of him.
Nah, not
SEN and Mikel Obi, and
yeah,
Jonobi.
Mikel also, but
yeah. Okay. All right. So obviously we all know Chelsea. It's a big team. So we're always talking in the group. Everybody's always talking the best about their clubs in our Kotu Classic
Yeah, exactly.
WhatsApp group chat. So as we know, he's yourself. You're a very avid supporter of Bruno Fernandes. So
Yeah, he's a good best friend of Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes is his best player. So
But like looking at your season, like Chelsea, you have a very mixed season because it started quite so good, and then in the middle it didn't go so well, and then in the end it went absolutely crazy. You guys won the Champions League. Yeah, I couldn't imagine Chelsea can win the Champions League maybe around December or something like that. So it was a huge roller coaster of a season for Chelsea. So how would you assess your seasons? Your season last, just this past one.
well, it's like you said, it was definitely a roller coaster season. And being a Chelsea fan, I think many people already know that about Chelsea. Like, it brings a certain level of uncertainty. Like, we're always unpredictable because of this hiring and firing of managers. But yeah, the season started actually well. I think during December we were already top at one point. I think our win against, was it Leeds or Sheffield? We were top for just like a day, and then but we started really well, and then unfortunately it didn't work out with
Yeah,
Lampard, because we could see also that inexperience started to kick in. Like, the team was there, but he definitely needed more time. But he also knew that at Chelsea, there's no such thing as time. Like, it's never
absolutely.
guaranteed. It's always the results. You always need results to gain that time. And it's sad that it didn't work out for him. But at the same time, we saw now how Tuchel did. Like, you could see the difference between a like experienced manager and an inexperienced manager. Like, how quickly he came to Chelsea and settled. And to be frank, nobody expected Chelsea to have such a run, like end up winning the Champions League. Like, our main aim was to just finish at the top four and qualify for the Champions League. But Tuchel came in and did a very great job. And yeah, it's turned out to be a great season for us, because winning the Champions League, obviously, it's what more can you say?
It's
It's the biggest trophy you can
as a
hope
club,
for.
of course.
And winning that was definitely a great achievement for Chelsea again, because now we are definitely the biggest club in London too. So there's no debate in that. And yeah, I hope this time it doesn't end up like 2012, like with Di Matteo. I hope this time Tuchel may stay a bit longer. Like, I think that's every Chelsea fan's wish, to have that sense of stability, like with the coaches, because obviously the hiring and firing, it has worked wonders for Chelsea actually, because we always end up winning trophies. But some, it may also it may also backfire sometimes. So it's better to have like a sense of stability. And I hope to stick with Tuchel a bit longer, and for him to form his own team. And yeah, hope we can kick on next season also.
I think for a team that does the hiring and firing as much as you guys do, it's benefited you more than it hasn't really. Because any other team that even attempts to do the same doesn't work for them at all. So maybe
Definitely.
that's what you should continue doing, because nobody thought that at this stage, if you fired Frank Lampard, you would really win the Champions League. But it happened the same with, like you said, Di Matteo. So what do you think the next
Yeah.
step is going to be, since you guys maybe we're not expecting to win the Champions League? So what do you think the goals of next season will be, now that maybe the team is where it's supposed to be?
Well, it's hard to say for Tuchel, but obviously for every Chelsea fan and for the club itself, I think the minimum expectation is always to qualify for Champions League. And Premier League, obviously, I think that's also a next target, to try and challenge for the EPL, because it's been a while. Like, the last time since we compete really was when we actually won it under Antonio
Yeah,
Conte, and that was like 2017. So I think it's now high time to try and fight for the EPL, because the past years, although we did qualify for Champions League, but it's been really tough, and it was always at the last minute, like always the last games, the last two seasons in a row, we had to rely on our final game of the season to actually qualify for the Champions League. So it's not a good sign for me. Like, personally, like, I would want the club to challenge more, like either first position or second position is okay, but definitely to do challenge more for the EPL next
yeah,
season. And if not, like, we still have chances of winning other trophies, because now that we won the Champions League, we have the Super Cup coming up, Club World Cup. So yeah, definitely winning trophies is always the main aim for Chelsea, and then qualifying for the Champions League. I think that will see Tuchel keep his job again. Like, he will still have
So
more time
it's
yeah.
for
all
him.
about.
Right.
Yeah, but
I
I
think
think with Tuchel, I think maybe he with the Champions League he just won, and with the caliber of manager he is he's different from Anthony. What's his name? Di Matteo. Di Matteo came in as a as a
Uh,
interim manager or something
interim
like that,
manager, yeah.
because you just sack your manager and you didn't have a proper manager out there who will come in to fix that problem. But with Tuchel, it was a huge opportunity. PSG let him go, and everybody knew he was a very good manager. And Abramovich saw that opportunity and decided, okay, we just have to take this opportunity now that Chelsea are a bit shaky. So this is the right time to do it. I like that decisiveness about Abramovich. sometimes he's very ruthless when it comes to making decisions. But yeah, so at the top of the
Definitely.
at the top echelon of management, you have to be very very ruthless when it comes to making decisions. So it was a big call, and it was a very very good call. So with Tuchel, I would expect him to stay a little bit longer. He will have a little bit time because of his caliber, I would think. Don't you think so?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, hopefully Tuchel stays a bit longer. Like that's every fan's wish. But like you also say with Abramovich, it's something that we also respect from him because you can see like a great example is at Arsenal. If Ateta was at Chelsea by now, they would have fired him. Like he won't get that much time like to say like you have a long term project and we believe in you. But I believe like what Roman does is actually right because there's no such thing as a long term project without results. Because if you end up always losing, you won't really know whether that long term project will actually come to be. So it's definitely something. Yeah, I do support Roman in that, but every Chelsea's fan wishes probably to have someone like
Stable.
a coach to have that sense of stability. Like at United, for example, now you could see, even though Ole hasn't won a trophy, but you could see that they are
Improvements. Yeah.
slowly going in. They are slowly going to having the right direction. They're progressing slowly, and they just need some couple of signings, and then they can at least be stable again. But for Chelsea, even though it has worked, but there's always this, yeah, you always have a fear that sooner or later it may backfire. You can hire and fire, but you end up also losing money, like spending
Yeah.
again, and the players also, it doesn't,
Mm.
it gives them a sense of insecurity because you always have to prove yourself again, and
Yeah.
it's a bit of a tricky situation always, but yeah.
Yeah, speaking of
Okay.
signings, you just mentioned a couple of signings. Chelsea have been linked, of course, every season. Chelsea will be linked with the whole of the whole, all the players in the world. And recently, we had some links like with Haaland. We had links with you need a defender, something like that, right? Maybe a midfielder,
Yeah.
Declan Rice. We are here in Declan Rice. I think he's a Chelsea boy, so you never know, he could end up at Chelsea. But there is a lot of links. What is going on in in that regard in terms of Chelsea? Who are your targets right now?
I think the main target for Chelsea is definitely a
Hmm.
striker, and the top target for now is Haaland. But it will be very difficult to get a player like him, especially now that Dortmund sold Sancho to United. I don't think they would be willing to lose another top player like that in this season. So it will take a lot of money. Like I saw some rumors about maybe 130 to 150 million, and the fact that his agent is also Raiola, it's another difficult situation because the agent will also demand a lot of money for himself, and yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult to get a top striker. Lukaku was also linked with, what I personally would prefer, someone younger, like Haaland would be the ideal option, or even Kane. But Kane is also a linked option, but I'm not holding my breath with that because I'm sure Tottenham won't sell Kane to Chelsea. Yeah, and the other areas where Chelsea want to improve is defense, because I'm thinking most likely Zuma will leave
Oh, really?
because yeah, most likely either he will go on loan, or I can see him being sold because we do have a lot of defenders, especially now that we play a back three. Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Christensen. I think James would also be playing more maybe as a right centre back, and then maybe someone like Livramento, a player from the academy, is going to be promoted.
Mm,
And I think that's why Tuchel wants another defender. There was this defender that we're linked to. His name is, I think, Lacroix or something like that, if I'm saying it right. He plays at
okay.
Wolfsburg. He's a defender. He's actually very good. And yeah, Varane was also linked with, but I don't see it happening. I think he's edging more towards
Yeah.
United, if I can remember from
Yeah,
what I
yeah, it
read.
seems you
So
guys
yeah,
kind of wanna snatch the United targets. That is Varane and Kamavinga. I just heard recently about Kamavinga, Chelsea's link. I don't know how true that those links are, but I have seen them because yeah, Chelsea will be linked with every player, of course.
yeah, I think Kamavinga. I also saw it recently, but I'm not sure there's anything concrete to that. I think Chelsea's main top
Hmm.
target is Rice, because I think it's easier to get Rice because he definitely wants to come back because he also has this Chelsea links. Him and Mason Mount are best friends. He came from the Chelsea academy. I think the main problem for Chelsea
Mhm.
is just the fee, like what West Ham are demanding. If we could maybe negotiate with them to reduce the fee, just like with in Chilwell's case, because Chilwell was also, when we were buying him from Leicester, they also were demanding 80 million at
Yeah.
first, around that price, and then we managed to get the deal around 50 million. So maybe in Rice deal, if we could spend like maximum 60 million, I would
Yeah,
be
but
okay with that. But
Rice
more
is
than that,
about to be a European champion if England wins, of course. Of course, I don't want that to happen, but if he wins,
Don't jinx it.
then
It's coming home, but
that's
don't
gonna
jinx
be
it.
another 20 million on top of that price if he wins that. So yeah.
well, well, that's true. But if that's the case, then I wouldn't mind going for someone like Kamavinga, even though the experience is not there. He's still young, but for the price, it's gonna be worth it. And the funny thing is, I think if we were to have a bidding war with PSG and United for Kamavinga, I think Chelsea have an edge because Peter Cech has like good connection still with Ren because he came from the team, and the fact that we just bought Mendy last season, Chelsea still have a very good connection with them. So we could do a deal with them. Yeah, and also another player who was linked was the Monaco player,
Mhm.
Chumeni, if I'm saying it right. He also plays for Monaco as a central defensive midfielder, and yeah, but it will be. I think the fact that we haven't signed players right now is because Tuchel also wants to look at our players that are coming back for preseasons, like those who went on loan. We have many players, like even our striker Broya. He's also a very good Albanian because we may also stick with him. There were also rumors that he's going to be promoted to the first team. So if we don't sign a striker, I'm guessing they will go with him because he had a good season at Vitesse
Oh, okay.
in the Dutch league.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so I think Tuchel wants to look first at the players we have because we also have players like Gallagher.
Mm.
He's also another type of Mason Mount player, very
Mm.
energetic,
Yeah.
work rate is
West
top.
Brom last year. Yeah.
And yeah, I think we'll he's that's why we haven't signed anyone this season. We're still looking at our
Assessing the
players in
players.
preseason
Nice.
and we'll see then.
Yeah. Enough of Chelsea
Okay.
now.
Yeah, I think yeah, you've already given us the rundown on Chelsea and their targets. Okay, so moving on to international football, we all know that the Euro 2020 it's on right now, and the finals are in just a few hours. AKA it's coming home, so or it's swimming home, like whatever you can say. So, which team are you supporting? Because you are supporting Chelsea, but then we were having a chat earlier, and you said you actually support
Italy.
Italy. So, how does that? How did you make that decision? Because I can't really understand it.
Well, I'm definitely. I was never an England fan. The only reason I support England maybe it's because of my player Mount and Chilwell, of
Of
course, and the
course.
likes of James.
Yeah.
But England as a team, I think I like them as a team. But the main reason I don't support them is because of their fans, because they're very arrogant, and I have also some friends here. But the main reason that I support Italy is like because of my friends, and I have some. I'm going to watch the game later at his house also. So yeah, I just Italy were also one of my favorites even before the tournament started. Like they were my
Yeah,
sort of like dark horses. I called them my dark horses before the Euros because nobody had them on their
Favorite list.
yeah on their mind. Like people were talking about France and so on, Portugal, and but they didn't talk about Italy until their first three games when they saw that they were really playing well, dominating, not conceding goals. So yeah, I hope that Italy wins it. But if England wins it too, like I'll be happy for Mount because he would have like a great season at such
yeah,
a young age with
definitely. Yeah,
the likes of James also and Chilwell. It will help them grow even further.
So who has been
nice.
your standout player in the Euro so far? Yeah,
Euros.
you don't have to come from Italy and England. Of course, the player of the tournament will come from there, but yeah, you can have a standout player from outside those teams.
For me personally, it's hard to say, but I would go with Spinazzola.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like he has really impressed me. Like before the injury, like the way he always bombards up the field, like attacking wise, also defensive wise. Like it's always funny to see. Like in Euros, you always come up to see players like you don't really notice them until the Euros. Because I think during when he was playing for Roma, I don't think he had a very good season because nobody heard of him that much. But in the Euros, he really came alive and he was really good. He's one of my standout players. And
absolutely. I cannot disagree with that.
and
yeah. I
another
think the
player
same
also
thing. Yeah,
Another player who also definitely has impressed me is the Denmark right back, I think, or left back. Is it
Melee.
Mele?
Mele.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mele, yeah.
Melee.
He's also someone who has definitely impressed me, and I saw also Chelsea were linked with him, but I don't think there's anything concrete to that. But
As
Yeah.
always,
as
Chelsea.
always,
Yeah.
but
But he
it's always rumors. It's just rumors, but he's definitely someone who has impressed
Yeah,
me
he just
also.
moved
Okay.
to Atalanta in January last year, so I don't think Atalanta will let
Yeah.
him go that easily now that his stock has risen a lot. Yeah, so
Chama, who's your player of the tournament so far?
um, player of the tournament, I will have to choose from Italy or
England.
England, and if I have to choose from Italy, I think probably Jorginho has been the best player for Italy. In the tournament, he had a great tournament, and if I'm looking at England. I cannot look beyond Luke Shaw. So who depends on who wins. So those two, but Stalin, yeah, Stalin seriously he has an exceptional tournament too because I think before the start of the tournament there were a lot of rumors or a lot of
Yeah.
talks about Stalin's not deserving of a place in the England team and things like that. But he has been their like main source of goals. He when they need goals, Stalin's the one who step up and things like that. But my favorite player in the tournament has to be Damsgaard from Denmark. That kid, yeah,
Denmark, yeah.
because yeah, he was not supposed to start in the tournament, of course, because of Ericsson, because he played the same role as Ericsson, and unfortunately, the unfortunate thing happened with Ericsson, so the Damsgaard had to come in the second game. But since he came in to the team, he has like felt like he has been playing with them for a very very long time. I've not watched a lot of games, but yeah, from what I see from him, he has been my really, and he's just 20 years old, so he had an exceptional tournament. So he will be my favorite player. How about you?
Yeah. Like you said, what's his name again? Spinazzola has been somebody who's impressed me the most, I think. But after that, I forgot this guy's name, the Italian midfielder that scored the two goals in the game. What's his name?
Barella,
No,
No, the one
Locatelli.
before,
Locatelli.
the
Locatelli.
Locatelli. Yeah, that I enjoy watching him play. I don't know why. I think it was a blessing in disguise that I think Verratti was injured and he came into the team. You can see whenever he plays, he brings a kind of dynamic energy to that midfield because he's always moving in towards the box. That's why he gets the goals. He's a very like interesting player for me.
Mm, that-
I think we should keep an eye on him. Probably I'll give Ole a call to see what we can do about since Pogba wants to leave. So
yeah,
But I think
we don't have time for
Arsenal are interested in him, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Arsenal. Never
yeah.
buys
Arsenal
anybody.
are
We don't have
interested
the
in you.
money, so
I
don't worry about that.
yeah.
It's fine.
Now let's.
You have to worry about Arsenal.
Mhm. Now we can have a quick
Okay.
word on the Copa America. Today was the finals, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I think even the Ronaldo fans were happy that Messi won something today, right? Yeah,
Finally.
I don't
finally.
think so. I
Finally.
don't think the Ronaldo fans are happy.
Well, I can see some of them putting up some tweets here and there. Oh, even though I don't support Argentina, but yeah, I am happy for Messi. Saw a lot of things like that. Yeah, but I was really really happy for him to win that. I was not even thinking about Argentina at all. I just wanted Messi to win that. What did you make of that today?
I think for me also it's the same. Like I didn't support Argentina actually. I just support Messi because it's something that he definitely deserved. Because he always had this heartbreak every final, like 3 years, always losing World Cup final, and yeah, it's. I think he definitely deserves to win the trophy. And I was really happy for him. I actually watched the second half. Then at first half, I did miss the first half, but I did watch the second half then, and yeah, I was just happy at the end that he managed to get the trophy because now I think the debate between him and Ronaldo is a bit quiet now. Like you have seen the Ronaldo fans take a step back now. They have been I think they have been regrouping more now to try and see what else they could talk about now, like what Messi doesn't have. I've been hearing people tweet like that Messi is still in the same league, and if he goes in another league, then they could debate again. But I think
Yeah, that's a choice.
that's
That's a matter
that's
of
just talk.
choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we can jump now back home. Gambia. I think we just qualified for our first ever major tournament, which is like a great feat. The smallest country in the mainland of Africa. It has been difficult. 54 countries in Africa, so it is never easy to get into the African Cup of Nations. But thanks to the extended program with 24 teams, but even without that, Gambia topped their group. They ended. are top in their group. So even without the 24 teams, Gambia should have made it this season. And there's a crop of young talents coming up. We have Dabo at Roma. We have Barrow at Bologna, who is your friend, I guess.
Yeah.
And a lot of other players play around, especially in Italy. So I think it's a big, big, big achievement for the Gambia. Um, how made up are you for the team, for the Gambia squad, and how much are you looking forward to the African Cup of Nations?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it because I really like the team. It's a combination of young players and also some experienced players in the team. And I'm just not happy for them not just to qualify, but I actually think they can make even more progress in the African Cup of Nations, like at least to qualify from the groups. I really think they do have the team for that.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm happy for my guy Musa, especially scoring the goal that made them qualify also. And it was really a proud moment because we were, like I said, I knew him since Methodist time. Like we were in the same class back in school, and we always talk time to time on Snapchat. Like I always do want to play with him FIFA online, but he's always busy. So, but sometimes if we have the chance, we can play FIFA online. And
Yeah.
yeah, but
So he was also in Methodist. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
he was also in Methodist, but then he moved to Ndaus in grade 9. And yeah, but he was a Methodist. I also knew his place. I was always at his place in Canifing. His brother also, older brother Chinks, he was also a very good
Yeah,
footballer.
Chinks left
Like
footed, right? Or something.
yeah, but he has always a knee injury. Like his knee always had
Yeah,
caused him problems.
I
But
can I can
he was
remember.
very good, like with kicking the ball. Like shot power was like
Yeah,
Adriano,
exactly.
99. I was
I,
99 shot power.
I can remember that. Yeah, because I think we have a few games with them or something like that in Kotu, like Warga Warga things like that.
Yeah, we played with them once at the Manjai
Yeah,
Park even, but I think the game, if I can remember, the game ended up
yeah,
in a
yeah.
fight and
Like
it
our
got
games. Yeah,
disrupted.
I think I can remember that. Yeah.
That's normal.
That's normal. That's normal in Gambian way. Yeah, like when I
Yeah.
play here in Japan, the football is so clean. You know, when I leave Gambia, I kind of stopped playing football because it was too rough for me. So I used to play only Warga Warga. I
Yeah,
stopped playing in Navetan. That's when I started. Okay, let me take up the coaching aspect of it. Try to develop myself in that area. But when I came to Japan, surprisingly, it was so easy, so civilized. There is no no. It was so easy in playing in Japan. So I came and I felt so fast playing in Japan, like they were so slow for me. So I said, okay, let me go again. Then I had to go again in Japan. Yeah, Gambian football is really tough. If you can make it there, for sure, anywhere in the world, you,
You
you,
can
you
make
can
it
make it
anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. So moving into FPL. So let's just get a brief intro into your FPL. Let's say career, like what they call it these days. So,
Okay.
so how long have you been
Well,
playing FPL for?
um, I think I started. I think this is my fourth season in the FPL. I started like in 2017. My debut season was under Antonio Conte. Exactly, that was the time Antonio Conte's first season at Chelsea. And the funny thing is, I really did well in my debut season. I should have actually won it.
Oh
I think
wow.
Chama can testify to that
Look,
because I was top of the league like
Yeah,
since the fourth game week or fifth game week, and it ended up going until the last 10 game weeks. I lost pace and then ended up finishing
yeah.
third in my first season. And I could remember I didn't know much about FPL
that's the
at
best
my
one.
debut
That's the
season.
That's
best
the
way
best feeling,
to
right?
play the game.
The
Yeah,
best feeling.
it's the best.
Yeah.
I even used my triple captain in the first game week because I didn't know what it was. And I can remember I used it on Hazard, and the likes of Mustik were laughing at me. I can still remember that. Like she was saying, like, why did you use triple captain? I didn't even know what that was, but I ended up getting 30 points because Hazard scored against West Ham. And yeah, but I still had a great season, and I should have actually won it, and that's one of my biggest regret because I was top at the league for so long. I even had like 100 point gap, and
Wow.
then Yabi and Chama came hunting me down, and yeah, I think my inexperience then showed, and I ended up getting third. But that was my best opportunity to
Yeah,
actually
that's
win
true.
it. But
You can
yeah,
also say it
hopefully,
worked in your favor as well, because most times it's the noise. Once you get become like integrated into the FPL community, you get all these noise, people with their own agenda, like, I mean their own ideologies and their own
yeah,
thinking.
mind
Yeah,
games.
so it's a problem. So if you're new, do whatever you can. Sometimes you get lucky, but I think it's if you cut out the noise, you can be your own manager.
Mhm.
So yeah,
That
it was
actually
it
that
was good.
happened to be my worst ever season in FPL too. Actually, yeah, I think Yabi won that season. Yeah, that season,
Okay.
anything I do was going bad for me. I think that was the season that Alonso came, right? That was the Alonso season when he was scoring a
Yeah,
lot of goals and Chelsea were playing the 3-5-2. Even Moses was a good asset. Chelsea were keeping a lot of clean sheet, yeah, but that
yeah.
was a very really tough season. And then he finished ahead of me, and he was like, okay, this guy. But since then, he has not seen me in the FPL league.
Well, hopefully next season because last season was so far my
Mhm.
worst season because I've been finishing always
Uh-huh.
top 10. Like obviously my biggest aim is always to win it, but if not, then hope top five. If not, then maximum like top 10. And yeah, but last season was not so good. But I don't blame myself. I think I didn't. I did at least a bit well. I couldn't say it's poor, but I think because we had many new participants in the
Yeah,
It
there are a
become
FPL,
lot
more
of new
and
people
competitive, yeah.
playing,
they were
more
they were
competitive.
they were
Yeah,
more exactly they were more competitive. It wasn't like just new FPL
yeah.
participants who didn't know how to play the game. They were actually very good and also very similar. Like that's something that always annoys me. I don't have patience with that. If I see my team is similar with
I
someone
was the
else's
same
team,
way to the Chama can tell you.
Yeah, so yeah,
I always try to change it. And last season was so bad because everyone ahead of me always had
The
so
same team.
similar
Yeah,
players
mm.
yeah.
and
That is,
yeah,
I think that is one of my FPS strengths because I play against myself. I play against nobody. I want to beat people, but when it comes to picking my team, it's always about it's against myself, not against anybody. So maybe if you try doing that, maybe it will help because yeah, looking at because eventually you will have similarity with people. Eventually, a template will pop up, and if that happens, you will look at your team and look at the next person next to you, and it's maybe you have to choose your battles like they say. You have to choose a little like okay, maybe my captaincy, that's where I will choose my battle. Ignore the other things. Just get your points in because at the end of the day, you want the points, right? So it's not about my friend have the
yeah.
same team. So even though he will give me points, I'm gonna go the other way. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned about last season, so that's a nice segue into the next question. Like, how do you rate your performance last season?
I would just say average, like not bad, not good, but just like in between. Because yeah, last season I couldn't really blame myself because I tried my best, but I other problem was I couldn't also really plan, especially with this
Mm.
COVID problems
Nobody could
because
plan. Yeah, it was.
nobody could really plan, and I always did it spontaneously, like maybe a day before the game week starts, and I just look at my team and then change. But the fact that COVID always had these interruptions, or like we had like many double game weeks or triple game weeks, and yeah, it kind of affected my performance. But it wasn't too bad because I started actually a bit good, and as the season went by, I saw like the new FPL participants were really good, and
The
yeah,
tougher, yeah.
it's actually not that bad. It's not that bad, but I'm looking forward, obviously, to next
Okay.
season. I hope to plan better next season,
Mm. Yeah,
and yeah,
planning is
hopefully
very
it'll be
crucial
better.
when it comes to playing FPL. To be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't reached the level of Jama with their sheets and everything what he posts, and I'll be like, what is this? Like, but they're better planners, him and Yabi and others, and I'll be like, hey, you mom look at it.
Okay.
But
You.
I'll just be seeing like these sheets, and they're already planned like 10 game weeks ahead and so
No,
on, and I'll
but
be like, hey, I always plan like a game week ahead or maybe three maximum, and just
yeah.
look at the fixtures.
But maybe I'm very how can I say I am very active when it comes to the group. I show everything I do. I'm not I enjoy doing that. I enjoy the discussions with having it with people, and that's why I post things. But people like Solomon, others, they are also part of this proper planning stuff. And there are other people there. They are not talking Bens. They are very active in the game,
Yeah, Ben
but
plans a lot.
they
He
don't they,
just
they
keeps
don't
it to
just say what
himself.
they
He
do.
doesn't share
So
his.
maybe I should keep my stuff inside myself.
No, 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 don't keep it.
Keep it to myself more than that
And share the
than
knowledge
plan
so
it.
that we can all copy and paste, you know.
Yeah, but
No, you can definitely share it because the likes of Ben Komong, I know they also plan because he just
Yeah,
doesn't
mhm,
share his thoughts. But I think you're more expressive and you also want others to learn, and it's
yeah.
actually a good thing because then I also get to know, okay, this is how they plan and this is how they do it, and it's actually interesting. It helps other people in the group, and but I don't think the likes of Ben would want that. They would
No,
yeah,
rather,
he doesn't share.
I'm going
you
to
know, they don't want it
so
to be
go to
that
Hunya Dula Fale.
competitive.
Ben Naka, like who's the captain this week? It's you will not see my even captain you will not see. But now let's go back to Chelsea
Okay.
a little bit. As we know, last season defensively Chelsea were very solid and kind of stable in defense. Attacking wise, Tuchel came in and showed the FPL community that I am even worse than Pep Guardiola when it comes to rotating my squad. And Chelsea were not doing exceptionally well in attack, but they have some exceptionally good attack like Havertz, Pulisic if they play, even Abraham when he plays he score goals, you know. But when it comes to Tuchel and rotation, I can remember owning in ZH for his good spell, but then after that ZH never really have a proper run in the team. So looking ahead into the next season, attacking wise, um, who do you think, as a Chelsea fan, who do you think FPL managers should be targeting?
Well, like you said already, we have a large squad, unfortunately, but it's also a good thing, and especially attack wise. So the only player I could say who's a guaranteed
Hmm.
starter is Mount. He is someone who I'm sure he may get rotated once in a while, but he would be the player that would get least rotated, so to say. Like he
Yeah,
will be starting more games because he's a very crucial player for Thomas Tuchel and the team. The likes of Havertz, Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech. It's just that we have too many attackers up front, and I think it also depends on the formation that Tuchel plays. Because if we play with a back three, then it's always a bit harder to fit all the attackers in the starting lineup. So, but if he reverts to a 4-2-3-1, which I think he would do in some games against smaller teams, then I would go for players like Havertz and
but if you
yeah,
but
Werner would also start, I think.
if you don't
But
sign a new striker, which is very unlikely, you will start. I think you will get a new striker. Havertz seems to be a very like viable option because he plays as a like normal like
False
false
nine.
nine,
Yeah.
the Firmino role. Firmino is now the owner of that role, and he does it pretty well.
A defensive
Yeah.
striker, yeah.
yeah, Havertz he plays this role very good. I think Tuchel ended up finding his best position. He always call it like a hybrid between 9 and 10, like between the 10 like behind the striker or as a striker. I think that's his best position and not on the flanks like Lampard used to play him at times. And yeah, he's definitely someone to look out for. But I would wait first a bit, maybe as the season goes on, because Tuchel would definitely be
Yeah.
rotating. Like I said, I think Mount is the only guaranteed start, especially if we end up buying
Uh-huh.
another striker. I think that would be even much harder than for Havertz to play that role as a striker, because it will end up depending on the formation that Tuchel plays. And the only player I
It's
can see
Mount.
who is a guarantee
And
starter
actually,
is
with Mount
Mount.
last season,
And
during the Lampard spell, he was doing pretty well, but he was not engaged when it comes to output, when it comes to creating chances, when it comes to getting chances. But after Tuchel came in, because yeah, I was really surprised when I was looking at the last season's numbers when it comes to players' numbers. Mount, surprisingly, he was the biggest underperformer when it comes to any FPL player during the second half of the season. He created a lot of. Unfortunately, I don't have these numbers right now, but like he created a lot of chances. He had a lot of chances. It's just that he did not end up, or somebody did not end up scoring those chances. So he was the biggest underperformer. Initially, in my draft, Mount was not in my team. But after I saw that, when I look at the first half of the season and the second half of the season, and then I see where Mount was, he's in the top 20 players in the game, not just strikers or midfielders or something, top 20 players in the games when it comes to big chances plus big chances created. He was up there and he was the biggest underperformer. And that was like, yeah. And Chelsea have a very good start to the season against Crystal Palace. But after that, they have quite a tough fixture Arsenal, Liverpool, and it gets a little bit tough. So, for me, after seeing that Mount was like sold in he's gonna be in my first team, in my first team of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mount is someone to watch, and the second half of the season, I think it also the problem for
Yeah,
Chelsea was
converting
actually
chances.
scoring. On the Lampard, they scored more, but on the Tuchel, they were more better like defensively. They were more solid, and that also showed because we did create some chances, but most of the games when Tuchel came, we were only winning like 1-0. If we score first, we would always then sit back and hold that lead 1-0. We hardly won games like 3 or 4-0.
Yeah,
I cannot even remember. Like most games were always 1-0, maximum 2 or 2-1. It was always an edgy game. So it was. I think the second half of the season was more for the defenders for Chelsea because Tuchel really he really concentrated more on the defense with the likes of Rudiger having a resurgence, Thiago Silva,
and
Chilwell, and
Aspilicueta. Yeah,
James. They all had a Aspilicueta exactly. So I think, yeah, I hope that next season he'll be more attack minded. I think he just came to the time he came was like January, so he concentrated more on the defense to try and see out the season and not to concede also, and it actually worked. But I think now he'll start to concentrate more on the attack, and hence why Chelsea need to buy a striker, and they want to buy a striker now.
Okay. So let's move into like how what kind of manager you are in FPL. Like, what do you really like use as your way of planning for FPL? For example, are you like a type of manager who deals in the stats like Chavo over here, or you just like watch the games and say, okay, I feel like this guy is going to perform next week. Let me just put him in my team and captain him. Are you a risk manager or a risk averse type of manager?
I think I would say I'm a bit of both in between. I do watch some games to have a own personal view of the team and the player I'm choosing. If I don't watch the whole game, I would watch some highlights and then some players, like for example Pedro Neto from Wolves and Podence. I actually ended up watching their games just to see how they played, and they really convinced me. And it actually is a good thing. And yeah, but I'm someone also. I look at the fixtures whenever I see it's green, okay, now I can plan better because I would know those games they are good to plan and gain points. So I'm also more of a type of like fixture guy. It always depends on the fixtures, and yeah, it's always a bit of both. Also sometimes form, but I would rather watch the players and then have an own opinion on them.
that's Solomon form. The form is the most important thing.
I'm a form guy.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
with
form
you.
is the
I'm with
most
you.
important.
Fixture is the most important thing. Fixture is the most important thing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
I think form is very hard to predict. Because let's say it depends. If Man City play against a smaller team, against Fulham, and someone like Lukman is playing for Fulham and he's been on form, I would still put him on the bench because I would know to get something against Man City is really unlikely. They're a good team. But on the other hand, if I look on form, if it's a team like West Ham or Everton, like a top 10 team, then I may stick with someone like, for example, Lingard, because I know that there could be a surprise. Like teams like West Ham or Everton, they could cause Man City or the other bigger teams like problems, and such players may get something. But like the smaller teams, I would definitely not look on form. In any player there, I would normally just put them on the bench and then look for another fixture, like maybe the following game week. And yeah, it's more fixtures for me, definitely.
Okay. So that means that you have some, let's say, for example, for going into next season, you have some targets that you have, personal targets that you want to achieve next season. What are those targets? Because you said
Definitely,
you didn't have a really good season last season. So,
Maybe beating
my
me is one
target
of them.
my target is definitely winning the FPL because, like I said, my debut season it still haunts me that I didn't win it and I should have won it. So I definitely
the mini league, or the whole
the
FPL.
whole league, actually,
Oh,
because
that's
like I said,
nice.
2017, I should have won that. It's something that still haunts me, and I really
Okay.
do want to win it next season. But if I don't, my minimum target is always top 10 to be in the top 10. And also the cup games, I really want to go further because I think it was season before last I had a very good run. I think I ended up being the only one in the group, me and Val. and I ended up getting knocked out. And then Val was the last in the group who actually went really far, also in the cup games, the knockout games. And it's also something that I want to also
Okay,
improve on and go further in. But yeah, definitely winning the FPL is the biggest target.
that's nice.
Okay, so finally, what are you looking forward to most next season? Because it seems like nobody can. Actually, we got some Euro fantasy sports, so it's like football never stopped for us, some of us, but people can't wait for next season. So, what are you most excited about?
Well, I'm excited about the EPL in specific, like specifically because competition wise, I think it's going to be a great season, not only for Chelsea but for the league itself, because many teams are buying players, the likes of Leicester City, and obviously I think the team still to beat is Man City, because after losing the Champions League, I think they will be even more spurned on now to
They're
win
going to
it.
be pissed, yeah.
They're going to be really angry, exactly. They're going to be really angry, and I think they will. Pep will be even more hungry to win trophies. So, but Man City are the team to beat. But I still see teams like Liverpool, United, Leicester competing. I think it's going to be a really competitive season, and I can see it similar to the year Liverpool won the Champions League, where Man City won the league with 1 point, was it, or goal difference? I'm not sure. Like I think next season will definitely be that close again. I don't see Man City running with the title. Like if Liverpool can have a fully fit squad, it would be definitely competitive. Chelsea the same if they can get a top striker, and Tuchel having his first full season, it's also going to be something. And same with Man United with Sancho now. I'm sure they also buy someone maybe like Varane, a defender, other players. Even though United, I think they would compete, but they may fall short because of Ole himself. I still think he's not the right manager. I still think United need an experienced manager, but yeah, he may prove me wrong. But it's going to be definitely a great season. And for Chelsea personally, obviously the main aim is always to win trophies, and we will have more opportunities now with the Super Cup and Club World Cup. So those are also two things I'm hoping for, especially the Club World Cup, because it's something that we haven't won. We always fall short in the end. And Super Cup also, the last seasons we've always lost the finals against Liverpool, Bayern, Atletico Madrid. We always lost the Super Cup the past years. So it's also something I'm looking forward to, that we definitely win it this time around.
Nice. Chama, any last questions you want to ask? Because honestly, I think we've
Yeah, I
taken
think we
out
have
all the
I think
information
we have
from you now. Yeah.
exhausted the questions. But yeah, it was a very very nice chat. Getting the insight from the Chelsea insider himself. Yeah, at least with my decision with Mount, I think he has even strengthened in that decision that yes, that he's a shoe in my team for the start of the season, along with the players that I mentioned or the players that I had earlier. Yeah, I think it was a very great chat and I enjoy it. Hopefully we will have you again when you become the champion of the FPL. Yeah, but it was great,
Hopefully,
Sonny, to have
hopefully.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
just okay. Go on, go on, go ahead.
Yeah, like thanks for having me again. It was really an enjoyable show, and hope to be here again when Chelsea win the league or the quadruple, and me also being the FPL champion. That will top everything also. So yeah, hope I can be part of this again.
good
All
luck,
right.
man.
Quick one. Have you already registered for the FPL?
I don't think so, but I I'll
Okay,
give it.
I would have asked you for your first draft to see like what kind of players you have on in your draft team.
But I would do it tonight. I could send it to
Definitely.
you tonight, and then I'll give you an insight of
Yeah,
Chelsea.
Yeah, we want to see. Okay. It was nice having you on, man. You're always welcome to join the pod. It was a great chat, and we learned a lot from one. I think you're our first Chelsea, actually, Chelsea fan on the pod. Yeah, so
Yeah,
congrats for that.
no problem.
Thanks for
Thanks.
having you, Sonny. Yeah. So, listeners, thank you guys as always. We had the Kotu Classic FPL podcast, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, bye.